Then I thought the other part of this that was interesting, they bring up the fact that he had 106 targets, which was less than all the other number one receivers pretty much. And then Crowder brought up the fact that, Aiyuk was 7th in receiving yards last year with 75 catches for over 1,300 receiving yards, but he was 23rd in the NFL in targets. And Aiyuk joked, I got so much more to give. And it's pretty obvious that he is a little underutilized. I kind of look at Aiyuk as he's like a car. He's like the guy who lives in a really fancy area who's got like 7 cars, and Aiyuk is one of them. And Aiyuk's like the guy's Ferrari that he drives like on every third Sunday. So it sits in the garage. He doesn't drive it in the rain, never takes it to the mountains, doesn't drive it on the commute, doesn't take it anywhere, drives it like once every 3-4 weeks. It's awesome, and he's got it, and he loves it. But that's Aiyuk. Aiyuk is the Ferrari driven by the guy who's got 9 cars, who drives it sporadically. And you sit there and go, it's underutilized. You know what I mean? He's underutilized in this offense compared to other top wide receivers. He was 3rd in the NFL or 2nd in the NFL with 28 receptions of 20 plus yards, but he did it on 105 targets. And Aiyuk, or I should say Tyreek, was number 1. He did it in 181 targets. And number 2, the guy did it in 171 targets. So Aiyuk did this in 105 targets. So, between his blocking, his physical nature, his tone setting, and, the fact that he's a team player, in some ways, Coach, I think he's the ideal wide receiver for the 49er offense from a lot of standpoints: ego, approach, physicalness, blocking. There aren't if you could make an argument that there is no receiver in football that would be a better fit for the Niners than what Aiyuk is for them. When you factor in his toughness, his blocking, how he doesn't demand the ball, how he's okay with 106 targets. I didn't see it. I never heard him standing in the locker room saying, you know what, I'm screwed. You guys are screwing me. I'm not getting enough targets. He's pretty much a team guy. So in a way, I almost feel like the Niners should pay him because he does fit what they do. And he is this incredibly efficient wide receiver. And I think they should acknowledge that, even though his numbers are a little south of the premier guys. I think they ought to acknowledge that there are reasons that his numbers are a little south of the premier guys, and they're not reasons that are like he can't play. The reasons are more like you got 5 other weapons, or you love to run the ball, or you're 32nd in pass attempts, or you know what I mean? It's things like that that are devaluing him. And to me, if you're gonna take care of your guy, why would you not take care of your receiver who blocks like a vengeance in the run game when you love the run game? So, we saw George Pickens for Pittsburgh. He acted like blocking was extra, like no way am I blocking last year. And Aiyuk's the exact opposite. So in some ways, I feel like the Niners have exactly the piece of the puzzle they need. Now it's just a matter of, can they pay him? But one of the things that came up in this stream was he was asked about what he's thinking about. And he's like, I'm thinking about what it'd be like playing with Jaden Daniels. And he seemed genuinely excited about the possibility of doing more. He's like, I can fit in any system. The Niners have a run-heavy offense. I get it. He's like, I can thrive in any system because I win man-to-man. I'm a true X wide receiver. I draw every team's opposite number 1 corner, and I beat him. I beat the guy in front of me. But then he's like, they're like, what are you thinking about right now? He's like, I'm thinking about what I can do playing with Jaden Daniels. So I don't know. As a Niner fan, and I don't know how you felt about that, I didn't like hearing that. I didn't like hearing that he has, this kind of like dream of playing with Jaden Daniels. You know what I mean? That it wasn't something I wanted to hear in this pod.
No, if we're staying with the car analogy, like the best thing for me
that kind of like gives it syntax is BA thinks that the Niners need Lamborghini prices, but the BA doesn't understand that it's not the fact that the Niners don't want to spend on a Lamborghini. It's that for the money that he wants to get paid, they want to buy a Ferrari. And there's a difference. And, you know, I think that, you know, he thinks that what he's asking for is emblematic of what the best receivers in the league are. But the Niners are trying to tell him that for that type of money, I don't want an Aventador. I want a straight L. I want a LaFerrari. I want a 488. Like, if I'm gonna really get a top of the line sports car that I can not just go in a straight line with, but I can take on any back road. I can push to the limit and actually go with any twisted turn that I need to. And I can go in a straight line and still kill you in the quarter mile. Then that's what I'm going to go spend my money on. I'm not going to spend my money on a heavy ass Hellcat or a 5,000 pound Charger or a Trackhawk. So there's a difference in what people think high end is, right? Some people may get $100,000 and you may go buy a car. Certain people go get $100,000 and they may go buy stocks. It's the value. And for me, I just feel like BA is going to get his money, but the way that money is going to be configured, what's going to get him right now is that he wants that guaranteed money to hit his pockets right away, because that's what he wants to feel. What are we talking about? We're talking about the documentary. This is a life-changing moment for his entire career, his family. He talked about his origin story. He talks about the origin story of, BA was not a highly sought after recruit. He had school issues. He flunked out, actually had to go to JUCO, didn't play his junior year, right? It's an amazing story, man, that somebody like Coach Herm Edwards got their hands on BA. And then what do we know? Herm Edwards and John Lynch are linked at the hip. They're very good friends, okay? They've curated this situation and they've had their eyes on BA for a long time. So, and then you look at him being ingratiated into our team. During the COVID year, he gets way more reps and targets than any rookie customarily gets in this offense, let alone in the NFL. And he pops. He comes back the next year and he struggles. And what happens is they gaslight his performance. The entire team is in on it. BA is not a pro. I mean, he's ingested a lot of this stuff. And you could see both sides. You see BA saying that I finally have a moment where I get true independence financially. And the Niners are saying, like, kid, we picked you up 1 year out of a fucking JUCO. Like, relax. Okay, we picked you up. We drafted you. Okay. And we had to teach you how to block. Okay, we had to teach you how to be a pro. Thank God that you put it together, all right? But at the end of the day, cut me some slack. Act like you know me, okay? So there's two sides that have they have an axe to grind. Like you can see both sides. But at the same time, BA isn't understanding that what he's asking for, the money that he's asking for in the fashion in which he's asking for it, would mean a complete shift of the Niners' plans of how they customarily sign other big players, the room that they need to be able to make for Brock and other players that they need to keep and sign, the year-to-year situation that we have staring us down with Trent Williams. Who are we going to do? What are we going to do with Mooney versus Demo when they're both up to get signed next year? So BA is having this singular, experience, and which is fine because that's what players can do, right? That's your privilege for you to be able to worry about you and only you. I get that. But as we're moving forward, you got to understand that BA needs to know that the value, what he's asking for, he's going to get it in different ways in his contract when it comes to a guaranteed stipend versus his annual salary, and they're going to backload the deal. And I'm going to tell you, time is a great thickener of things. I'm telling you, time will give context to a situation. And in 2 seasons, the Niners have time on their side. They do. And in 2 seasons, they're going to reassess. They're going to reassess Brandon Aiyuk just like they reassessed Eric Armstead. They're going to do it.
I mean, just the way it goes. I mean, it's just the way it goes. Guys get old. Guys have sometimes you have clout. Sometimes you don't have clout. Your value is in relation to your production. So if you're healthy, then you produce at one level. If you're not, I mean, I think Eric Armstead's departure has a lot to do with the fact that he's got chronic injuries. But that's the Niners looking at his health and looking at his dollar figure and saying, you know what, we're going in a different direction. And you're right, it's a business. It's a cold business. It's like, hey, you know what? When Brandon's got to take advantage at this point when everybody in the league wants him, when he's on top, when he's coveted, when he's got the numbers, because there'll be a time when, he'll be struggling to hang on. And that's just the reality.